How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG, which was down almost 12% on the day. If you guys remember what I said in my previous videos, when it comes to these plays, you do not want to get greedy. You want to protect your profits. We had a big time sell-off, and I know many people sent me messages saying, Dre, thank you for looking out. You told us there was a gap that needed to be filled to the downside. You said that there could be possible weakness in the market due to the fact there has been strong sell-offs. So I want to make sure you guys are prepared going into tomorrow. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.90, being down 11.85%. On the low, it tested $2.87, and then on the high, testing $3.39. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 40.445 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 29.865 million shares. So we did have above average volume on the day, but we've seen a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 55.18, and we are starting to trend downward. So you want to keep note of that. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, and we are just finished above the 100-day, and we're also above the 21-day EMA and as well as the 50-day. So closing at $2.90 is of no surprise whatsoever. But one thing that I did remind you guys when I was talking about in my previous video, that there's a gap that needs to be filled to the downside. And what it looks like, we might potentially fill in that gap. I know we only saw a low of 287, but if we continue to see weakness in the markets, I could see us filling in this gap either on Tuesday or on Wednesday. So you want to keep note of that as well. And if we fill in this gap, that's where I want to look forward to seeing if bulls are going to step in and seeing if we could push this stock back up. We ended up seeing a high of $3.39. So for us to see the strength that we are looking for, we want to see BBIG making that move to 350 and of course seeing if it could test a 200-day moving average at $3.92. If it is unable to get above this level, this is where I can see BBIG struggling, and in the technicals don't look as strong. This is where I can see BBIG probably wanting to pull back, but like I said, if we have demand or if we have a catalyst, we could have a move that can push the stock further. But from what I'm seeing and how the market has been, it looks like we're going to be filling in this gap first before we start making a move to the upside. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for BBIG. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here for Pro Equities Inc., we have 0 for all of these columns. So we should be looking forward to an update. We'll go over that again sometime this week. And then we have Cube Research and Technologies Limited that purchased 201,715 shares. And then we also see for the 6 QCM Cayman Limited that purchased 34,457 shares. And then we have a closed position from Amplius Wealth Advisors LLC as well, which they completely closed out. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off exchange short volume ratio is at 55.85%, and then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 43.56 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 100,000, updated just now, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 34.46%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 5th, it was at 47.61, and then for the close of the 6th being at 55.85. So what does this show us, taking into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.47%? BBIG does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we see here on the inflow, it was at 24.77 million shares, and then on the outflow, it's at 26.61 million shares. So we ended up having an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.95 million. On the medium, it was 16.86 million, and then on the small, it was 6.96 million. Taking a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 0.28 million. On the medium, it was 19.34 million, and then on the small, it was 6.99 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see from May the 9th, we had an inflow of just over 673,000. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying, but it was still fairly close. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 21.69%. We know that BBIG is a volatile stock. We also know there is a lot of selling pressure going down inside of the markets as well. So seeing it at this particular level is not surprising. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG when it comes to the price action. So as far as for the gap, we have a gap to the downside that needs to be filled around $2.60. What we needed to do as far as holding support on the day was at 298. We ended up breaking through that level. So there's still some more room for us to fill in that gap. And that's what I want to see BBIG do for this week. The sooner we can fill in that gap, then we could see what the stock could really look like as far as for the upside. But since we're on that topic already, and I know there's a lot of bulls that watch this channel, we want to see BBIG getting above $3.50, making that move going to $3.80, and then $3.92 where we have the 200-day moving average. If we can get to these levels, things will look good. But if we end up having a breakdown as we try to make our way to the 200-day moving average, I'd want to see some consolidation to get us ready for the next move up. And if we don't get that, again, the stock will just come back down to the levels of where it's currently trading at. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we do see institutions have purchased up some shares. We see a good amount of activity, but this is a volatile play, so it's not going to be like other plays that we talk about on this channel, like Lucid and as well as for SoFi. And then taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. But one thing I want to be clear about here, we need to have above average volume when it comes to buying pressure. If we are not getting that, then this stock is going to continue to pull back. And I want to make sure I'm being very clear about that. Many people are saying, well, you know what, this stock is going to be going to the moon. And you know what, I would love to see that. I want to see you guys make some money. But if you are inside of this play, please make sure that you have a strategy. When it was trading in the threes, I was saying, hey, think about an exit strategy for yourself, protect your initial investment, and remember, when I was talking about taking a position in this play, it is not too bad if you're able to get in inside of the low twos. Many of you were able to take some profits, many of you are still inside of the play, but you're still making sure that you're protecting yourself on the downside, and that's all that really matters. I know there's some people that come to my videos and think that I'm pumping this stock and saying that, you know what, it's going to be going to these astronomical numbers. You know what, I don't do that on the channel, and I can tell that you're really not watching my videos fully. But one thing that I want to caution to you, if you are going to be going into any stock, not just BBIG, do your research. Make sure that you do your homework. This is so important. Just because you watch some video on YouTube and some guy was talking about, or maybe a lady was saying that, you know what, this stock is going to be going to the moon, and then said, you know what, hold. I'm holding for you, so why don't you hold for me? Again, I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to the stock market, everyone is looking out for themselves. And you need to make sure that you're looking out for your own pockets, because at the end, if this stock pulls back or if it goes in whichever direction, they're not going to tell you exactly when they're going to sell. And if they do tell you when they sell, it's going to be too late for you to actually react. And that's why I say, always have a game plan. I only do this for your own good. I don't care how many haters want to come to my channel and be like, well, you know what, paper hands, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I'm a trader. There's always another play inside of the market. You don't need to marry these plays. We are in a bear market right now currently. We are not in a bull market. So the moment we have pumps, they're going to get sold off. People are going to take profits. This is not 2020 and this is not 2021. You need to catch up. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.